أهلا بكم مشاهدينا، أنا كورين فرحات أرحب بكم وحوار أجريته مع سعيد يونان. هو دي جي أمريكي شهير من أصل عراقي. ولد سعيد في بغداد، هاجر وعائلته إلى الولايات المتحدة جراء الحرب العراقية الإيرانية. بعد استقرارهم في ضواحي العاصمة الأمريكية، وجد سعيد في الموسيقى منفذاً للهروب من صعوبات تأقلمه مع حياته الجديدة. عن طريق الصدفة وخلال حفلة في منزله شاهد دي جي لأول مرة، فاستهوى هذا العالم، وبعد إتمام دراسته حقق حلمه وبدأ بإنتاج الموسيقى وتأليفها. ترأس سعيد عدة لوائح عالمية لأفضل دي جي، ويعتبر أن تواجده في الولايات المتحدة فتح أمامه باب النجاح العالمي.
Music represents everything in my life right now. I mean, it's my life writing. It's the timeline of where I am and who I am. My name is Saeed Younan, and I'm a DJ, producer, record label owner, and this is what I do. I was born in Iraq, Baghdad. I lived in Iraq for till about I was 9 years old. I remember me and my sisters and my dad making a bunker during the Iraq and Iran war, taking cover every time there's a raid. We left Iraq because mainly when I was young, I was training for military. I was the only boy in the family. I had two sisters, and my parents just didn't want that to be the direction of me going into, especially at a young age, going into military training. So we decided to, leave the country in the middle of the war. It was in the Iraq and Iran war. It was, I believe it was 1980. My parents, they didn't, they wanted to make sure that we didn't freak out. So they told us, look, we're just gonna go on vacation, which we did, and we left everything behind. We left the immigrants and went to London and get our papers done so we can come to the US. So it was a difficult time for me being a young kid. And I also remember actually when I came here, they put me in 4th grade and there was a school alarm going off. And I had such a mentality of being in Iraq, thinking that there was a raid. I actually ran underneath my desk and hid him, and the teacher didn't know what was going on, so he had to call my parents, and my parents explained to them that he has a shock from being in a war. Not having any friends, not knowing the language. I mean, I spoke no English. I wasn't paying too much attention to what was going on in school. My mind was always drifting out, I was getting into music, obviously, at a young age. It was a good escape for me. When I was young and got my first keyboard and my parents put it in my bedroom, I just wouldn't leave my room. Boom in the trap. I saw a DJ at my sister's party, and I was really fascinated by it. I don't know, something clicked right there, and I started learning all about scratching, how to spin back a record, how to fade from one record to the next, and that opened up a whole new world for me. It's a creativity I've never seen. I was doing house parties first, then from house parties I graduated to doing high school dance parties. Then from there, I started shopping my mixtapes around to clubs and letting people know that I DJ. And in order for me to get my foot even, more with the music and the stuff, I started promoting the events as well. And my parents hated that. Coming from the Middle East, the nightlife is not a thing that they want their son to be in. So they made an ultimatum and they're like, look, we'll let you go full force with this whole music thing as long as you go to college. So I ended up taking, again, a business degree. So I finished that. I was like, all right, you're happy now, finished with the business degree. I dived full force into DJing. By that time, producing was the thing. So in order for you to become a better DJ, you had to produce. This was like in 1991. So basically, yeah, I make my own music. So when I'm producing, I'm actually in the studio producing, writing tracks. I use a lot of Arabic music, my heritage music, music that I've grown up with in order to produce the music, to create the tracks that I make now. My creative process usually starts in the DJ booth. So when I'm DJing, I'll hear, I'll play a track. I'm like, this is an amazing track. And so I'll start kind of creating ideas in my head. I'll come back in the studio and create my own track similar to what I would play as a DJ. So I start building a composition. If it entails a vocal singer, I bring the vocal singer into the booth. Then they can layer vocals on top of the track. Sometimes I'll sample vocals. I'll use my turntables or vinyl records that I have and sample some of the music. But basically, it all comes down to just creating certain tracks, and each track will be a layer of either a kick, hi-hat, bass, keyboard, sound effects and whatnot, and you build a track from that. So I basically will know when the track sounds right, at least the low end of it, when this little guy, this turtle, starts moving its head, and because of all the sub that comes out of these speakers right here, all the air, when the air hits it, he'll start going back and forth for me. So that I know the bass is right. You'll never know when you have a hit until you're completely done with the project. Sometimes if your track takes more than a month or even longer, it's probably not a good idea to continue because you're just chipping at it and it's just not going to go anywhere. One side of my production is my record label, Younan Music, which right now we're over 150 artists are on the label. And so what I do is I release artists on Younan Music to put out to the world. The other fold of my music production is me as an artist with my making my own music, producing my own music, releasing my own music, signing music to other labels, putting out artist albums, and touring just like any regular artist would be doing. My music, it crosses all race, it crosses all religion and languages. Music is about a feeling, and everybody I think has that same feeling when they hear good house music or dance music. I've been fortunate to receive a lot of recognition in the music world. I've had, voted Best Breakthrough Artist. I've won multiple times in the top 100 Tech House Artists. I've also made the top 50 Best US DJs, I think for like 5 years straight. Beatport does awards as well. I've had, nominated for Best Tech House Track. Best recognition for me is working with one of my mentors and a great DJ himself, Carl Cox, when he witnessed me DJing and then brought me on board. So that to me felt great because when I was coming up, I used to go to New York to hear Carl Cox play. So to him to kind of recognize what I do musically and also sign to his label is something very special for me. The DJ competition right now is probably the highest I've ever seen. My career has gone down, gone up, and I've always stuck to my sound and what I believe is true to myself as an artist, as a producer, and I think that's the longevity with anything you do. To me, life is all about full circle. What you give, what you do is always going to come back to you in tenfolds. So I do a lot of charity work. Not only do I volunteer for things, but I also give to Children International, which I sponsored a child that he's now grown and moved on and doing college. I give to a foundation called KIPA, which you give money to people in third world countries to help them start their business, almost like a loan. So I do a lot of stuff like that, and also volunteer locally, and especially during the holidays. I'm mostly grateful for, I would say, my parents for doing what they had to do in order for me to be here living my dream and doing what I love. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I don't know what would be right now. So that's the big one for me. I have immense attachment to Iraq. It's just, yeah, I only lived there for 9-10 years, but there's a child inside of me that I still want to go back and just see the streets or the area or where I live. From being a little kid to where I am now, I'm constantly breaking stereotypes. I mean, being in the U.S. has allowed me the freedom to do what I want to do, obviously more so than if I would have stayed in Iraq. So yeah, coming here as an immigrant, I knew that being in this country is going to be a different life. Being here has made me an awakened person. It had really opened up my horizon and see things in a different light. I'm absolutely living my dream. I mean, I've been doing this for well over 20 years, and I wouldn't be smiling like this if I wasn't.